Good afternoon, everyone. Danny unsuccessfully tried to get rid of me, but still here and joined by Shreyas Royal, who has just drawn with Mickey, and we're here to talk through the game. So presumably very happy with a solid draw to sort of keep you in a really strong position for the tournament tomorrow.
Don't think it was as solid as you may think. I was under some pressure, but in the end, yeah, the result is quite a good one for me. So,
nice. So just to walk through the game, I imagine this was all fairly expected to start off with. I'd imagine you had an inkling it would be some kind of Italian.
Well, I still somewhat assumed it was going to be a Lopez. Mickey is predominantly a Lopez player. However, I feel like in certain opponents he prefers playing the Italian, perhaps to like avoid preparation. And I assume I'm one of them because he's played it twice against me now already.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it was quite a slightly unusual way of handling the Italian with such an early bishop e3, I guess.
Yeah.
In terms of the structure, what kind of main thoughts here of how you wanted to handle things?
That's the thing. I wasn't quite sure. I think it was actually a smart choice by Mickey. I hadn't really had too much experience in this sort of pawn structure with the double pawns. I generally knew that there should be multiple ways for black to be fine, but it is still quite a tricky line. And as you see, I didn't play the most precise moves.
Yeah, it seemed it went from basically equal and fine to suddenly there were kind of some slightly unpleasant problems to solve, sort of 10, 12 moves down the line, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, the way you initially handled the very standard situation of both sides having the doubled e-pawns, a very typical structure in Gioco piano situations. What do you think were there any major decisions where you felt like things started to slip away, or?
I mean, already I had serious decisions to make early on. For instance, I mean, I played bishop e6 in the end.
Yep.
But I was also considering knight e7, and the idea is to bring my knight to g6 and perhaps some c6 d5 eventually. Yep. But I kind of wanted to keep things simple, and I thought bishop e6, this I should not be worse here. In fact, yeah, like I wasn't quite sure which. Already here, I was quite unsure on what setup to opt for. It felt like, because once again, I think I was trying to compare it to another line, and a line that Mickey has played in the past is knight c2. In fact, he played this against me 2 years ago, the British as well. I think I went h6, and he went bishop e3.
Yeah.
So eventually we got the same pawn structure, and I thought, okay, without h6, I should be able to make a more useful move. However, I think the difference is,
the knight having been committed to
yeah,
c3,
yeah, exactly. And you could argue the knight is better on d2. In fact, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's interesting looking at these incredibly symmetrical positions, but where there are a couple of small differences, and just the fact that it's much easier for white to make progress on the queen side that seem to cause some of the issues later in the middle game.
Yeah, definitely. I think I was considering all sorts of ideas. Queen e8, queen g6, bring my queen over to the king side. But, excuse me, the main problem I had was, once again, c3 and queen b3, and I didn't want to feel somewhat tied down to these weaknesses. In fact, Mickey suggested a5 here, but even he admitted this position is quite a bit confusing, but he thought it was a bit easier for white to play, and I'd have to agree.
No, absolutely makes sense. An a5 is it's a logical move, but it's a very committal decision to make, and could lead to further weaknesses on the queen side there. So yeah, I think d5 is very logical, but it's
also quite committal.
It's another very committal move, and the having to now constantly keep in mind the e5 pawn it's a slightly awkward decision, awkward situation to be in, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, h6.
In fact, my initial... Well, first of all, I had to evaluate this endgame, and I assumed the engine would say it's not too much for white, as we see, but...
yeah, I mean...
it was certainly quite...
I would not want to go anywhere near this against Mickey,
well, the issue here is that my knight is tied down, and, he can go b4, b5.
It's just so clear and obvious how white's going to progress the position, and not at all from your perspective. I guess at some point you are just going to lose the e5 pawn.
I think so, yeah.
And maybe that's still okay for you, but that doesn't feel like
Well,
a great strategy for handling the position.
Mm-hmm.
So I think keeping the tension makes sense, and queen d6 or h6.
Well, queen d6 was more active.
Yeah.
I don't know what my problem was. I think it was queen b3, and I thought like maybe eventually he would have d4 ideas, and despite taking on, I could take a couple of times on e4, but there's always some knight g5.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to regain a pawn. So with h6, I was trying to be a bit clever because I'm not quite sure if this is working here, but this was certainly on the cards. Just force matters. I mean, there's a fair bit to calculate, but if I calculate precisely, then I should be able to simplify. So something like this. Is this fine? Yeah, it is fine. I mean, initially it looks a bit scary with queen takes e6, and perhaps a knight could come in, but I think at the end things are just going to fizzle out. So
fair enough. I think it's logical to. I mean, h6 is always going to be useful moving these positions anyway, and taking out any sort of knight g5 resource for white. So I think the next few moves fairly logical.
Well, already
by both sides. Queen c2 is interesting decision, I guess, in introducing the idea of d4, which eventually happened in the game.
Yeah. And after queen a, b4 actually, I completely forgot about this resource.
Yeah.
I thought I should have everything under control in the center, but suddenly b4 comes, and it's a good question how I keep my knight on c6.
Yeah, and I guess your solution here was queen h5 here, right? And it's kind of you're sort of limited for options for overprotecting e5, and it's not ideal, but probably the best choice.
Yeah. Actually, here I think he played d4.
Yeah, I think we were looking through this at the time. I think like an immediate b5 is probably premature, but I feel like there are plenty of ways white could build this up a little bit more slowly.
Yeah, this was the other candidate move, and I think we analysed this a bit after the game, but he thought like if my knight gets to g6, then I should get decent counterplay. D4. Okay, so the engine's not too thrilled by my idea, but I assume there's some. I probably miscalculated something here.
I think there was one. Trying to remember exactly. There was one line that gave white some kind of advantage. I think knight fd2 was
inaccurate. Yeah.
Was inaccurate. After which you were basically okay. I think it was b5 here from memory.
Right.
And
I was somewhat banking on queen e4, but is the rook endgame winning?
That would be my assumption for why this wouldn't be working.
Hang on.
Or
this is fine. Therefore,
so it's got to be this.
Right. Okay.
This and
probably.
If you're holding on to the b7 pawn, this has got to be very good for white, right?
So in that case, this was somewhat a bluff.
It works.
Which paid off. Yeah. I think. Well, if that's lost, then I'd probably have to go for knight e7.
I think so, yeah. And then knight takes e5, queen takes e4 looks pretty unpleasant long term, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Right. I mean, still not that clear evaluating the endgame. And he went for a fairly natural move, but already the evaluation bar dips.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that after the inevitable liquidation, that even, as we saw in the game, even with the isolated e-pawn, it's not going to be... it's not going to be a serious problem long term.
Exactly.
So, like the exchanges that we're inevitably going to see here, are fairly favourable for black, I think.
Yeah. No, I was quite happy with 97. In general, I wanted to keep the tension.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew this shouldn't be disastrous for me going into this endgame, but I am still under some pressure. And I thought, if possible, why not prepare some way to get e5 in?
Absolutely, yeah. It fully makes sense to make all these useful moves while white's still kind of tied down with the pin.
Yeah.
I think...
Well, rook ac1, I think he might have missed that.
It feels like he
wasted a move.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think he could have done much more with the tempo, but he said certainly. I think an alternative might have given a few more options down the road. Yeah. But from here, I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty safe for you. And the final resource, I guess, having e5 here just to fully liquidate anything, and the the draw offer, and acceptance seemed pretty fair for both sides.
I was wondering about knight c5. I know it should be fine, but I guess if he was ambitious, he could try this.
Takes an
Knight b7
here,
and then perhaps have to go rook b8, and you could come back and, I don't know, try something yet. But you see the engine doesn't fancy it.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, I don't think he has any ways to play for a win. It's just going to liquidate everything. And
but I think a very, very, very solid performance so far this week. We've seemed very, very confident, very assured in all the games. Particularly yesterday against Luke was very impressive.
Yeah, thank you.
But I'm imagining. I mean, we'll see exactly what the pairings look like, but likely having white in the final rounds
exactly
should put you in a good position. So absolutely best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll see how the rest of the rounds go.
I thought Bazakutsu was doing well. Has he?
It's got quite a bit messier the last few moves. Simon's managed to create some complications, and I think this position. What move are we on? It's 24 with both sides getting below 15 minutes is going to be
it's quite a murky position.
Would not want this for either side, to be honest, but maybe marginally more. You at least have the activity with black, I guess.
I think Simon would enjoy this position.
I mean, it's
difficult to say that.
Yeah, I mean, Sviatoslav's kind of this sort of player too. So
he's quite solid. He's quite resourceful.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but a lot less clear than it was a few moves ago. And
Peter seems to be doing well.
Yeah, it's I think Peter's taken quite a firm grip over the position the last few moves, and he has fallen a bit behind on the clock. Was maybe the one thing I would watch out for there. But I think I'd assume I'd say there are quite high chance of at least one decisive game of those two.
Yeah, perhaps.
Which will I mean if Peter wins, then you'll have white against him.
I think so.
And
if it's a draw, I might face Harry, I reckon.
Yeah, I think that would then be the other pairing. But I can worry about that later. But between now and then, I think have some rest and
have to pack as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But best of luck, and hope tomorrow goes well. So.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.